This is the Morning Swim Show for Monday, January 3rd, 2011. Happy New Year. I'm your host, Peter Bush. In the Finesse Monitor today, we'll talk to John Lohn. He's the senior writer for Swimming World magazine, and he is now an author as well. His book here, The Historical Dictionary of Competitive Swimming, is out. And John joins us right now in the Finesse Monitor from Basking Ridge, New Jersey to talk about it. John, Happy New Year. Nice to see you again.
Thanks for having me, Peter. Happy New Year to you, too.
You glad to have this thing finished?
You could say that. It was a labor of love is the way I'll describe it, but I definitely did not shed a tear when the final editing process wrapped up.
Tell me about the idea and, the concept behind the book.
Yeah, Scarecrow Press came to me. They've been doing this thing, the Historical Dictionary series, for a long time. Whether it's on Europe, on World Wars, whatever. They wanted to expand into a sports domain, and the first three that they actually came up with were golf, basketball, and swimming. The swimming one happens to be the first. They came to me and said, would you be interested in this? And it's always been a dream of mine to write a book, and I said, okay, let's tackle this thing. I learned a lot about the process, for sure, but I was able to learn a ton about the sport just from back at, the beginning of the sport. Hungarian Alfred Hajos back in the early 1900s. It was just a great experience for me to get an education on the history of how swimming competitively developed.
I kind of give a synopsis to explain to somebody what they get when they open the book.
Basically, it's an encyclopedia. It highlights anyone who's ever won an Olympic gold medal. Anyone who's ever won an Olympic medal has an entry in the book. It basically takes a look through World Championship, Olympics, all the major world record setters. If you're flipping through, you want an entry on Mark Spitz, you flip to S, and there it is there. So it also has a bunch of appendixes in the back that break down the countries with the most Olympic medals through the years, all your Olympic and World Championship medalists up to date. And we'll be updating it after 2012 Olympics is when the second edition will come out.
Was there anything about kind of looking back, maybe that surprised you?
You know what actually stood out more than anything over the course of, not so much a historical, in terms of like going back into, say, early 1900s, but just how impressive Hungary has been through the years. I mean, we all know about their men's breaststroke dominance. But for a country that small, I think they ranked 5th or 6th in all-time Olympic medals. And that one, I remember just saying, wow, that opened my eyes a little bit, and I was kind of naive to that.
So yeah, I mean, little things like that. I mean, that's why these books are cool. They take you back and you look through and you go, really, I didn't realize that, Hungary had so many medals, or that, this swimmer or that swimmer was so successful in the historical context of the sport. It's not just about, the guys who've done it in the past decade or so.
Right.
So you'll update it every 2-4 years, whatever you need to do. Probably have some more Ryan Lochte entries in after 2012.
It's definitely shaping up that way with the way Ryan's performing.
Well, part of this interview as well, aside from looking at the book, we wanted to kind of do a recap of 2010, and Lochte was the big headliner. But what jumped out to you about this year in swimming, other than, hey, no more world records every time somebody jumped in the pool?
One that I definitely wanted to talk about today was just the way the year ended for Katie Hoff. You can't not smile at what she did, I think, 2 weeks ago here, where she wins world short course title in the 400 free, takes a silver in the 200 free. Katie fell off the radar in '09, didn't even make the world championship team. I recently had an interview with her for an upcoming magazine story, and she said she came as close as she could to hitting rock bottom. But the perseverance, and that one kind of wrapped up 2010 in a positive way for me. I've always appreciated what Katie's been able to bring to the table, and just for her to show that desire to keep plugging away and really make things happen out at Fast now, and that was just a real nice thing to see.
I think it was an important year for Katie Hoff, not necessarily in this regard, but for a lot of swimmers to prove that they weren't just suit swimmers. For Ariana Kukors, for Paul Biederman to some extent, for swimmers around the world who really lit it up in 2009 to say, look, I can do this without the high-tech suits as well.
Yeah, and I think you nailed it with Ari, because Obviously, that time she swam to win world title in the 200 IM, I mean, to me, that's the world record that will last longer than anyone. I just don't see anybody coming close to that. But she definitely held up her end of the bargain in terms of being the top American in the 200 IM. Now, there's a couple people now who have gone the 209 lows in the 200 IM from Australia, Seabohm and Coots. But Ari definitely did, proved herself to maintain and say, this isn't just about a tech suit with me.
We were having the debate, Jeff Cummings, Garrett McCaffrey, and I, in our sort of look ahead to 2011, that to us the bellwether swim for Michael Phelps this year, and whether or not he's really back in it to win it or not, is going to be the 200 free in Shanghai against Lochte, against Biederman, against Taewon Park, against all those guys. That will be the one, because we think he'll be fine in the butterflies. But to determine if he's going to be the real deal in 2012 or if Lochte has jumped past and is going to stay ahead. What do you think?
I think that's definitely a fair statement, a fair assessment of the situation. That's got the makings to be, and I can't really, just off the top of my head, I can't see there being a more promising event for Shanghai in 2011. How fast can these guys go? How fast can they get toward Biederman's 142 flat world record? I think that's going to last, but I think you're going to be seeing, just to get on the medal stand there, you might see a couple people down in that high 142s, which is pushing what Michael was, in a laser in Beijing, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a fun 2011. We've kind of turned that middle of the Olympic cycle corner. Everybody's going to start gearing up this year because they know they got to get it done in time for 2012. So I can't wait. Anything specific you're looking forward to this year?
I think you're right. This is where the push is on, definitely. I think it'll be interesting to see where some of these comebacks are. Where's Ed Moses going to be if indeed this thing comes to fruition? But yeah, it's just the build. And we all saw what Michael did in Melbourne 2007. He basically set the table for what he would do in Beijing. And I think that's what Shanghai is about, definitely for Orion Lochte. Look, he might not be doing the same program. He probably won't be doing the same program that he has in mind for London. But he claims he was half rested for what he did at World Short Courses here. So if he throws down the gauntlet, that's going to be one heck of a lead up in terms of the hype for when we head over to 2012 and London.
Totally agree. John, congrats again on the book. Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year.
Thanks. Take care.
All right, that's John Lohn joining us, and that is it for today's show. Oh, just a quick reminder, if you'd like a copy of the book, you can buy one at the swim shop at swimmingworld.com. All right, that's it for today's show. I'm Peter Bush, reminding you to keep your head down at the finish.